Alright, so welcome to the multiplayer video. Here I'm going to show you how to play a multiplayer game with your friend. So we have a new tab here called multiplayer. So once you go there, you just have to make a room with a name that you and your friend both use, and you'll play together. It's as simple as that. It's very similar to Walkabout Mini Golf if you've ever played that. When it comes to puzzle progression and save games, an important thing to note is that your multiplayer games are separate from your single player games. So all the save games that are in your single player games will not transfer to your multiplayer games. The other thing to note is that your save games are bound to each room that you play in. So if you're going to be playing with a friend quite frequently, especially on like larger piece puzzles that you're going to return back to, you're not going to finish over a single session, I recommend creating a unique name that you and your friend will visit every time you play. If you are the first player that's joining the room, that means you are player number one. That means you get to pick the puzzle that you're going to play. It also means that the save game will be saved on your device, on your quest. So it's technically your puzzle progression that you are playing on, and your friend, who will join in a second, will be contributing to your multiplayer save game. Again, these are tied to the room and tied to the first player. So if my friend joins the room first, we'll be playing on their save game rather than on mine. So if you're going to be playing on larger piece puzzles, make sure that player one is always player one and you're playing in the same room name. When it comes to which puzzles you can play any puzzles that you both own. So of course that includes all the puzzles that are in the game itself. It's the 16 puzzles that are in the game itself, including all the other free DLCs that we've released over the years. And of course there's all the other DLCs that we've released. So if you both own them, you can play them together. Also notice that if you pick a puzzle that the other player doesn't own, it'll actually show you here if they own it or not. So that's really nice. If there's a puzzle that I've downloaded but she hasn't yet downloaded on her side, it tells me that the other player needs to download it. So why don't we go ahead and do that first. On Courtney's side, she is now downloading. Great, now that download is complete, I can pick which piece count to play. We're just going to stick to 25 pieces just for this video. Alright, so now that we're in game, hello.
Hello.
Hi. So this is how it works. We can both pull pieces, and I can take a piece here. Why don't you hand me a piece? So when you're still holding it, you can still grab it directly from my hand. So that's really nice. But I can't pull it from your hand, and that's of course to kind of prevent accidentally being able to pull pieces from each other. But it's nice to be able to hand pieces to each other, or maybe even steal pieces from each other. Haha. So the other thing to know is, in terms of muting, you can mute yourself from up here, and so now she can't hear me. And there's a Deafen microphone next to her, so if I press on that and Courtney talks, here, Courtney, why don't you say something? Start saying la 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 la. So I pressed that, and now she's muted. La, and la, now la. She's back. Perfect. So just keep in mind you have both options. You can mute yourself or mute your friend in case there's like a lot of noise coming from there. What else? There's all the puzzle tools you can use. You can use your grouping function and your see-through, and there is a color picker for changing the environment colors. However, just note that this is a local setting, so it's not actually changing the colors for your friend. So this is just affecting your world. You both need to do it separately. Especially for longer puzzles, you need to take a break or two. The important thing to know is that if you take your headset off, it will basically disconnect you from the multiplayer session. So if you're player one, and if I get disconnected, it'll actually kind of end the session that you have. Of course, you can restart it by going back to the multiplayer session and multiplayer room and starting the same room name and everything. But if player two does it, so if she puts her headset to sleep by taking it off, it'll basically like put her in this like middle state where she's frozen, but whenever she turns her headset back on, it'll try to disconnect and reconnect her. So just so you know, that's kind of what the behavior is whenever someone connects and reconnects. So hi. Also, if you notice that whenever she was reconnecting, there's a sound effect like this happening. It also stops you from picking up puzzle pieces or kind of interacting with anything. And that's meant so that all the networking that needs to happen in the background actually synchronizes to each other. So when someone is leaving and joining, you're not allowed to really pick up a piece. You just can't interact with anything. But that's just so that everything synchronizes correctly. If you finish this puzzle or you decide you want to play something else, basically player 1, the first player, needs to take everyone back home. So you can press and hold on the home button and you're back in the multiplayer lobby. And here we can pick another puzzle. In the next video, we'll show you how the local mixed reality multiplayer mode works. And if you have 2 headsets in the same room, how to get both players to play together next to each other, synchronized and in mixed reality mode. So stay tuned for that, and happy puzzling.